Good morning, everyone. Good to be with you this morning. You might notice my background's a little different. My logo has come down, but we're getting ready to transition inside as it gets colder. So for Advent, starting next week, I'll be indoors, which is a little warmer. And we're getting all those things set up for Advent and with Advent candles and stuff. And I know it's hard to believe that Advent is next week, but if you have Advent candles or you want to get them for next Sunday, that would be a great start to the Advent season. But I've still got my Unraveled art up. And this is our last Sunday of the Unraveled series. It's been 8 weeks of exploring together those stories in the scriptures in the Old and the New Testaments about times of unraveling. And also, how are we unraveling in our own lives? And that there's a lot of different answers to that question, right? Some that we were already aware of and maybe just have some language to it. And some that may be completely new to us, some new unravelings in our lives and in this time. So today we're going to explore that for one more Sunday, but I want to invite us to also think about how we can give thanks for those times of unraveling, how it sometimes draws our attention to the good things that we have in our lives, because we are at the week of Thanksgiving. And so you'll hear from some Crossroads members in worship, sharing what they're thankful for right now, from small things to big things, and how important it is to take stock of those things in our lives right now in this time. So I'm glad to be with you to worship. Welcome to the visitors that are with us for their first time or their second or third time. And welcome back to our folks that have been with us hundreds of times. It's good to worship together and to be in this space wherever we are, but gathered together virtually and spiritually in worship this morning. So I invite you to turn your hearts and your minds and your bodies as well. Calm them as we enter into a time of worshiping and encountering God together.
Please join us in the call to worship. Sometimes life takes us where we don't expect.
Sometimes God takes us where we don't expect.
In worship, we gather to get in touch with God's bigger narrative.
In worship, we gather to expand our hearts.
So let us worship the God of unending surprises.
Let us worship the God of love.
This house and all who enter, bless us as we come and go. Bless the children and the elders, bless our friends and bless our foes. Sacred light shines on and through all those who do and do not see. May we rest in that sure presence where we live, move, have our being. Broken-hearted, hurting people long for comfort and relief. Loving kindness like a river, freely flowing, bring them peace. Sacred light shines on and through all those who do and do not see. May we rest in that sure presence where we live, move, have our being. Those who seek and those who hunger, those who weep and those who mourn, find that emptiness embrace may be a doorway back to home. Sacred light shines on and through all those who do and do not see. May we rest in that sure presence where we live, move, have our
Jeremiah 29, 1-9. These are the words of the letter that the prophet Jeremiah sent from Jerusalem to the remaining elders among the exiles, and to the priests, the prophets, and all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had taken into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. This was after King Jeconiah and the queen mother, the court officials, the leaders of Judah and Jerusalem, the artisans, and the smiths had departed from Jerusalem. The letter was sent by the hand of Elisha, son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, son of Hilkiah, whom King Zedekiah of Judah sent to Babylon to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon.
Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all of the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat what they produce. Take wives and have sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there and do not decrease. But seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare.
Seeking understanding when everything has fallen apart. Maybe we can create space, an opening, a crack into the soft parts of our hearts, for words to take root and ideas to grow from weeds to trees that give instead of take. An opening between our back teeth, which have been held tight, clenched in our seeking. And maybe in that space, we can open up our hearts to the idea that it won't all make sense, that no amount of theology or wisdom or time or work can heal our grief or shame or our hurt. No amount of hope can undo suffering. And if we can do that, then maybe we can recognize that unraveling happens at home, behind closed doors, on pregnancy tests, and in empty bottles, in sleepless nights and in worn-out prayers, as well as in the streets with hands up when God's people are unable to breathe. And maybe that truth can help us to be gentle with each other, because unraveling happens to all of us. It's universal and irreversible. It's communal and personal. And so I pray for an opening. I pray that the Spirit will blow into the caverns of our hearts, past the unraveled fragments of days that fell apart, past the realization that it won't all make sense, past the unraveling that we've all kept secret, until the voids in our chests feel like the void at creation, blessed with God and light. And that prayer sounds something like this. O great artist, in my clenched fist, rationalist heart that would rather argue and barter than have a fresh start, unlock the door, throw open the curtains, and create an opening in me. For I hold tight to unraveled things, wrapped up in anger, seeking understanding. So water-worn soil, and set this bird free, create an opening in me. Amen.
feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
I am thankful for the great worship at Crossroads Church and all the creative talents of the worship planners and contributors.
This year, I'm thankful for being able to wear shorts in November. Thank you, Kansas City. Much better than Wisconsin.
Asher?
Thank you for my red sucker.
You're thankful for red suckers?
Yeah.
Eleanor, what are you thankful for?
I am thankful for pizza does. I am thankful for Finn.
I am thankful for my new cat, Ruby.
And this cat.
Fog.
And this dog.
Wrigley.
I am grateful this year at Christmas time. We have a new great-grandson named Freddie. He was born in June, and so welcome to Freddie for Christmas this year. And I'm almost finished with his stocking. It doesn't have a back on it. Yay, done with that. Almost. And welcome, Freddie.
I'm thankful for John, Scott, and my dogs.
I am thankful for my spouse Fred, sons Cooper and Cordell for keeping me laughing, providing love, friendship, and companionship. My 2 walking partners who motivate me, keep me moving and healthy. You, the Crossroads community. For years, we've battled water problems that have been a thorn in our sides. You all have given so generously to the building fund, and the needed repairs are now being done. It fills my heart with joy, and I am thankful.
I am thankful for my friends and family. I'm thankful that I'm still employed and have an income. And I'm really thankful for the election results because now I feel like I have some hope.
I am thankful that I am retired and that I know that today is Tuesday. What? Oh, that today is Monday.
I'm thankful for breakouts on Sunday. Happy Thanksgiving!
Thankful for many things this year. My family, my friends. Thankful for a job that I enjoy. Thankful for being relatively healthy throughout a pandemic. And I'm also very thankful for my Crossroads family. Miss you all.
My ABCs of thankfulness: autumn, beers, coloring, chiefs, dancing, elephants, family, flannel, God, heaven, intimacy and immigrants, Jesus, jokes, kites and kids, kangaroos, landscaping, monkeys, nature, novels, Olympics, owls, possums, pastels and picnics, quilts, rainbows, sisters and steaks, travel and Toby, understanding and unity, Valentine's, my wifey, walking and wine, Zena's, Yawks, and Zippy.
I'm grateful for family and for friends, for you, my church family. I'm thankful for Zoom and the camera on this phone so I can send this message. And I'm thankful for this beautiful fall day where I can rake leaves or sit out on the patio and read a book while drinking a cup of hot tea.
On Sunday evening at 6, we have a standing Zoom dinner with our grown children and their spouses and children. We share what each of us is eating, from homemade hummus and garden fresh vegetables in one household to vegetarian tacos in another, and homemade sauerkraut with local farmers' pork at another table. We discuss the meals before us. We then share our lives of the past week, and we listen to one another. We also laugh a great deal. We have never done anything like this before, but it is reminiscent of our early years when we had dinner together every night at our kitchen table. We are living in uncertain times. This dinnering, as one of our children calls it, has become something we all look forward to. It reminds us to appreciate life and each other.
I'm personally thankful this year that my mom is doing well. She's in a nursing home and she's been COVID-free, and the rest has been COVID-free, so I'm very thankful for that.
I'm thankful for being forced to slow down and take stock of all of the blessings that I and we have been given.
I am grateful for cats.
I am grateful for my loving parents.
I am thankful for a God who provides and protects us.
I am grateful for Crossroads allowing me to find a new church home.
And I am thankful for my children, and because I have children, I have grandchildren, and this is my grandson Brady.
I am very thankful for my friends and my family during this time. Being able to talk to them has been so helpful, and my pets, of course, because they're my little cuddle buddies.
I am very grateful that I have a home and couch to be a COVID couch critter, and I'm very glad for my church community that keeps me sane and grounded. God bless you.
I am thankful for family and friends who help me get through this hard time and support me and love me and encourage me to keep going.
I am thankful for all the people at Crossroads Church. Each one of you is a star in my sky. Thank you for being who you are and who we are.
For her. I'm thankful for her.
I'm thankful for him.
We're thankful for each other.
Yeah.
I am very thankful for my family, my biological family, and my spiritual family. For over 50 years through Broadway and Crossroads, I have been blessed to be a part of such a creative community. Thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving, all. There's lots of hope in the forecast.
Would you pray with me? Living God, we thank you for the ability to dig in the soil and work in our gardens. We offer you our abundant harvest in the form of our time, talents, and monetary offerings. May our gifts be used fully so that your love and goodness may shine through us forever and ever. Amen.
For the fruit of all creation, thanks be to God. For good gifts to every nation, thanks be to God. For the plowing, sowing, reaping, silent growth while we are sleeping, future needs in earth safekeeping, thanks be to God. In the just reward of labor, God's will is done. In the help we give our neighbor, God's will is done. In our worldwide task of caring for the hungry and despairing, in the harvest we are sharing, God's will is done. For the harvest of the Spirit, thanks be to God. For the good we all inherit, thanks be to God. For the wonders that astound us, for the truths that still confound us, most of all, that love has found us, thanks be to God.
Thank you everyone for those amazing videos. It was really fun this week to watch them and to put them together and just, feel my own gratitude that you are finding ways to be thankful in this time, to be grateful for life. And I'm thankful for all of you so very much. And thank you, our worship people, for doing some extra Thanksgiving music, some songs about gratitude this week. We greatly appreciate it. So if you were with us at the start of the series, you might remember that I had some purple yarn. A lot of you know that I am a crocheter. I like to make my kids fun hats in the winter and blankets when I can find the energy to finally finish them, things like that. But I had this purple hat that I had been crocheting a few years back, and I just never finished it. I didn't really like how it looked. And so in our first week of this series, I unraveled it as I was sharing with you. And some of that yarn became my string for my piece. But I was thinking obviously this week coming to a close in the series about what happens with those unraveled bits. And so I started afresh. Last night, crocheting a new scarf out of that same yarn that I unraveled for you 8 weeks ago. So I'm going to attempt to crochet a little bit while I preach, although that's totally new to me. I've planted a flower or, a flowering bush before, but I've never crocheted while I preached. So we'll see how far I get. But I've been thinking a lot about what it means to unravel and what comes after that. And one of the things I thought about considering those times when we unravel was my college experience, which I know there's at least one person on here. Well, there's a few people on here that went to college where I did at William Jewell, but there's one person on here that went through the same teachers as I did in the religion department. And there's some unraveling that happens at that school, at least. And I'm sure for other students or some of you, maybe when you were in your early years or even later, some unraveling of our theology that happens. We usually call it deconstruction, as we kind of start to break down things. And I can remember being a college student at William Jewell, just across the street from here, and feeling like my faith was unraveling. And surprisingly, that didn't scare me as much as it scared some students. Some students were so troubled by it, they kind of reached out to students behind the scenes and tried to convince them to not listen to the teachers and, to hold on to their conservative faith, their beliefs. But some of us kind of jumped in and took a risk and began to deconstruct, and our faith unraveled some. And we found ourselves in a strange land. We found ourselves in a foreign land, you could say. Something that was just very unfamiliar to us, and we didn't quite know what to do with it. It was very different from the Sunday school classes that we grew up in, from the stories that we heard, and the lessons that were taught to us. Our theology, our faith had unraveled, it had deconstructed, and now we had to ask ourselves, well, what do we do now? In the passage this morning that you heard, the Isaiah passage, the Israelites find themselves in a foreign land, in a strange land. They are exiled in Babylon at the time. And they are dealing with a great bit of unraveling. Jerusalem had been their presumed connection to God. That's where God lived, they thought. And so being away from that land was disconcerting. It was very troubling. They had lost their homes. They had lost their welfare. They had lost their identity in a lot of ways. So much of their lives had unraveled. And they were dreaming of one thing: to return to Jerusalem. They just wanted to get back to what was familiar, to what they thought was, God's dream for their lives. And so they were focused upon that. But they couldn't get there yet. They were trapped in this foreign land. And then God speaks through the prophet Jeremiah, and God surprises them, because God says, stay where you are, and don't just stay there. Don't just be unhappy and miserable there, or just put up with it, or just be thinking about your escape plan, but settle there, plant roots, build homes, and plant gardens that you will eat the produce of, and multiply your families. Even look out for the welfare of the city, not just for yourself, but for the whole city. And that if you do that, you will flourish. Don't just survive exile in Babylon. Thrive there, God says. Flourish. Now, we have all, in some way or another, unraveled this season. And you can call this season whatever you want. The fall, the last 6 months, the pandemic, 2020 if you want. We've said throughout this 8-week sermon series that the pandemic has unraveled us all in various ways. But for some of us, our personal lives have unraveled in ways too. Or perhaps our perception of ourselves or our perception of God has unraveled. Maybe it's a dream that we had, or a dream for the future of something new, or even a dream that we had just to remain as we were has unraveled. I know a lot of us have dreamed to just walk back into the sanctuary doors, and to return to worship. But we know that it's not quite like that. And we've had those personal unravelings in our lives too. You've shared some of those with each other. You've shared them with me. I've shared mine with you as my own life unravels through a separation and a divorce, and imagining what life looks like moving forward. And so a lot of us are asking the question, well, now that all this, the stuff of who we are, of our lives, of our world has unraveled, what do we do now? But one of the things I've realized about this time of unraveling is it's not an ending. It's not an ending. Not an ending unless we want it to be. The thing about unraveled threads is we can just ball them up. We can throw them in a dark corner. Trust me, if you went through my house and looked in the closets, you would find a lot of abandoned, balled up yarn and projects that are unfinished, like this fabric or this yarn once was as a hat. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can take those threads, the ends of the unraveled pieces, the bits of our hopes and dreams and beliefs in life, and we can begin to create anew. We can plant what we have now, what we've discovered, and we can plant it right here, right now in this time. Like the Israelites, we can rebuild and replant and multiply. We can thrive and we can flourish just as we are. And while we may not be, living into or establishing the dream that we once had, we might discover that what we are planting now is something more of God. That it's something more grounded and mature and something more resilient and full of goodness. It might be something truer to who we are and to the value that we place on ourselves and on others. Might be something truer to who we are in God. And it might be something of great beauty and great joy in our lives. And if you're curious about that story I told at the front end about college, and wondering about your own experience of deconstruction and unraveling in life, it works out in the end. It comes to something else. Those unraveled bits of my faith in college were woven into something more beautiful and more resilient and more loving than they ever were before. And I think that, those of you that know me and my faith. This morning we've had several moments to hear and express in our own hearts, sitting in our homes, our feelings and of gratitude and thanksgiving. And I initially, when I wasn't getting a lot of videos from you all and I was concerned, I started making my own Thanksgiving video. And I said I was thankful for my kids, which I am very thankful for my children. And our 3 pets, as you saw, which they are thankful for. And I said I was thankful for my kids and coffee and sweatpants. That's what I said. I was thankful for kids, coffee, and sweatpants in this pandemic. And then when I saw what you all did and the good material, I decided just to leave mine out because there was plenty. But I'll share with you what I am truly thankful for this season and in these last 2 months of sharing together in worship. I am thankful for a safe space where we can unravel. where we can be loved in our unraveling. I'm thankful for a space where we are encouraged to have hope, even when we feel like just a few loose strings. I'm thankful for a place where we can take the risk to begin to create again, where we can plant a new garden, where we can begin to rebuild, and where we can flourish. I'm thankful for this community, for each of you, in which unraveling doesn't have to be so scary, and it doesn't have to be an ending, but it can be an opportunity to plant new dreams and to thrive again in new ways. So hopefully you've been adding to your Unraveled art project. And this is our last one. And if you're new, you can join in this activity today, and you can use cloth that might start to unravel at some point, or paper, whatever works for you. But as you to write or draw on this piece, I want you to think about this. What in your life do you need to plant? What do you need to plant? What do you need to rebuild? Or to look at it another way, what would it mean for you to thrive right now? What would that look like? What do you need to do so you can begin to thrive? Bless you. Let's sing.
Tree planted by the water, we never will run dry. So living water flowing through, God we thirst for more of you. Fill our hearts and flood our souls with one desire, just to know you and to make you known. We lift your name on high. Shine like the sun, make darkness run and hide. We know we were made for so much more than ordinary lives. It's time for us to more than just survive. We were made to thrive. Into your word we're digging deep to know our Father's heart. Into the world we're reaching out to show them who you are. The living water flowing through, God we thirst for more of you. Fill our hearts and flood our souls with one desire, just to know you and to make you known. Lift your name on high. Shine like the sun, make darkness run and hide. ineffable, anything is possible. Joy unspeakable, faith unsinkable, love unstoppable, anything is possible. Joy unspeakable, faith unsinkable, love unstoppable, anything is possible. Joy unspeakable, faith unsinkable, love unstoppable, anything is possible. Just to know you and to make you know you, lift your name on high. Shine like the sun, make darkness run and light. We know we were made for so much more than ordinary lives. It's time for us to more than just survive. We were made to fly. We were made to fly. We were made to fly. We were made to fly.
I hope that you go into this next season thinking about what you need to do to thrive right now, what you need to do to not just survive this time. I've thought a lot about that recently. I don't want to just survive every day of the pandemic or the unraveling in our lives. I want to live in the moment and thrive. What would that look like for you? Hopefully you got your newsletter emailed to you on Wednesday with the things coming up, especially because you might have noticed it was a 2-week edition. I'm going to take a couple days off next week and try to just enjoy the holiday with my kids a little bit. So I won't send out a newsletter on Wednesday. So look at the one from this past week for all the info you need as we go into Advent. But we will send out the worship link next Friday, as always. But I want to emphasize a few things that are in your newsletter. One of the big things is that we would love to see your unraveled art. It's hard to see mine without my big background behind me, but yours, I expect that they all look really different and I'm excited to see them. So, sometime this week when you can get close to the church, go by and hang it on the fence that surrounds the parking lot. The fence runs 2 sides of our parking lot, and the slats are thin enough that if you have string on yours, on the ends of yours, you should be able to slide it through and then loop it around and tie a knot, and you can hang your unraveled art up there. And then, throughout the next month, we can drive through that lot occasionally and see those. And maybe some of them will begin to unravel with the weather and stuff. So I hope that you'll share your art and what you did. You don't have to put your name on it unless you want to. Mine will go up there in the next few days, and just an opportunity to see how we've all, taken this time to heart and learned and grown during it. Some Advent things, because next Sunday is the start of Advent. So we have devotional booklets for you. I meant to have one in front of me and I don't right now. They're on the other side of my porch in a handy basket for you to pick up. So we have devotional booklets that if you've been with us before over Lent or Christmas, Advent season, you've used those before. We have them and they are excellent. They have multiple things you can do during the week at your own pace. There are opportunities to color. There are opportunities to draw, to write. There's beautiful artwork in there that we'll use during Lent or during Advent. And there's statements written by the artist for each of those pieces of art. So you can read those. So they're really a wonderful piece for you to have individually. We also have coloring pages, a large coloring page that matches a piece of art that was done for this series, our dreaming series for Advent. And so you might, if you like to color, that's one for you. And then there's also a really awesome Faith with Feet Advent calendar that our Faith with Feet team made. And it's kind of set up like a bingo board, and you can mark off different things that you are going to do or you are doing during Advent. If you're new to us, Faith with Feet for us has been something that we've done every fifth Sunday, which is 4 Sundays a year. And we, instead of worshiping like this or in person, we worship through action, and we do things in the community and help make a difference. And we've had to be a little more creative with that during the pandemic. And next Sunday would have actually been a Faith with Feet Sunday. And so rather than not being together, we'll still worship, but we're going to kick off a month of Faith with Feet for the Advent season. And so this calendar will just give you all sorts of great ideas of things to do and some spaces where you can dream your own ideas of how to put your faith into action. You can use it like a bingo board. There's also mandalas on there in the background, and so you can color it in. And so it's just a really wonderful thing to use as individuals and as a family. And a big thank you to Abby Pratt and Beth Cotton and Aaron Huffman. And I'm forgetting one more, Cody Wilson, who put those together and had all those ideas. It was just really great. And our whole Faith with Feet team, who's been working to bring you some other creative things next Sunday. Also next Sunday, we start a 4-week kind of Sunday school class. It'll be at 9:15 to 10:15, and it will be on Zoom in the same link. So you just go to the worship link, you come on at 9:15, and we'll put you in a breakout room. And what we're doing is, for 4 Sundays, Visio Divina. So if you're familiar with Lectio Divina, where you read scripture multiple times and kind of let it sink in and reflect on it, and maybe hear a word or a phrase that speaks to you, you're going to be doing the same thing, but with art, art that we're using for this series. And Rob Hayden, one of our resident artists, is going to be leading that conversation, that Visio Divina time. So I hope you'll come on as much as you can on Sundays at 9:15. I think it's going to be really a wonderful experience. And I'm so thankful that Rob is doing that for us. There's also something really new on your Advent schedule, which is called the Longest Night Service. And you probably saw that in the newsletter. It's on December 1st, which is a Tuesday at 7 p.m. Some services call this a Blue Christmas service. And what it is it's an opportunity for those of us that are heading into the holiday season with some sorrow, with some grief, with some lament. Maybe we've lost a loved one this year, or maybe the holidays are just always hard for us. And this is a space to feel loved and welcomed in that, and to pray. And so I hope you'll consider joining us for that service on the 1st online on Zoom. And then we'll even have some breakout time afterwards if folks would like to stay and pray with one another. But that service has been coming together for the last few weeks, and it's really beautiful. So I'll hope you'll join us for that. There's a lot of other things and pieces to Advent as we do this online. I won't be hosting the big Christmas party at my house that I usually do, where you all come and somehow 100 people fit in my church. So we're going to do online Zoom happy hours with me and other staff. So there's just lots of things like that are going to be happening. We're not having coin boxes to collect our Advent offering because of the pandemic and wanting to be sanitary, but we're going to do an online offering, and we're doing it for an organization that works for immigrant children's rights at the border. So just lots of amazing things that are happening. And I'm so thankful for staff and volunteers that are bringing that together for Advent for you and creating anew in this time. And that includes our worship team, who just is doing a phenomenal job. And some of you have probably noticed in the chat that we've been kind of patting Mike on the back today some, because he doesn't always get a lot of credit. The worship planners might get noted, or the musicians' names are on the screen and you see me, but Mike's in the background. And he's always done PowerPoint like once or twice a month for us in person, but online, it has just been Mike. And so every week he is creating our PowerPoints and picking those beautiful backgrounds, and he's running it as well. He's part of our Zoom team. Him and Greg, his partner, and Madeline are my Zoom team. And so he and they and the worship planners, they just do a phenomenal job, and they're getting to do they're having to step it up for Advent, right? Like they're having to create some additional stuff right now. So thank you to them. As we head into Thanksgiving, I guess it's true. I'm very thankful that even in these crazy times, we get to worship together and we get to be creative with it. And we get to experience God in so many different ways. So I'm so thankful that you came to worship today, whether you've been here a bunch or you're new, or it's your second or third time. We're glad that you worshiped with us this morning. I'm going to pray, and then we just have a short little postlude. And then if you'd like to stay on, we'll have a greeting time. We'd love to say hello to new folks, and it was just some time to chat a little bit. There'll also be a very, very short presentation from the ad hoc team about the fundraising that's going really well for some building repairs. Might as well get those done while we're out of the building. So will you pray with me, and then we'll close. God of unraveling and recreating, it is good to rest in your presence, to know that we are loved and held, even when we feel like our lives have unraveled to the point of being nothing but threads. We are thankful that you sit with us in that time, that you love us in that time, that we have a community to embrace us in that time and space in our lives. Help us to trust and to see that it does not end with unraveling. But even in what might feel like nothingness, like loose threads, like wilderness times, that you invite us to rebuild, to plant seeds, to multiply, to thrive, and to flourish. And what might seem like an ending may actually be a beginning for something more beautiful and full of your goodness. We pray with grateful hearts for you, O God. Amen.